Well, hello everyone. It's Monday again, Monday before Thanksgiving. So, wow, starting to get into those holidays now, and it's time for that rush to the finish of the year. Now, if you're here to enjoy the show, please go down and uh, share the show, please. Go and Facebook, go click on that share button and share it to your friends. Get some more people in here. Yay! Help promote our show for us. That's a great way to support us, and we appreciate it. If you're on YouTube and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do. It that also helps us, and yeah, it also is a good way to follow us in the future. So we appreciate that as well. And if you happen to have both, hey, you're on Facebook, pop over to YouTube real quick and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're on YouTube, hey, pop over to Facebook and share it. Why not go crazy with it? It's that kind of week. It really is. So hey guys, I see some people already in here. We've got Susan, the ubiquitous Susan Hill, who has been almost everywhere over the past week. I see her on I see her on Shakespeare's show, and I see her on ours, and it's great. And hello, Antonio, and Kristen, and Jan, and Odinetta, and Drew. Hey, Drew's back, and Janine. Wow, a lot of people. Katsurita. Wow. Oh, still not used to the sharp image? Yes, thank you, Kristen. It is a lot better. I tweaked it a little more, so slightly better color. You got a little bokeh going on in the background. I don't know. What do you think? Just a Oh, there's a little bit of the sound slightly, ever so slightly from the video. Okay, I'll check that. That's a good tip. I'll take care of that in the future. Um, so good to know. That is a good tip. I appreciate that. Uh, if it's a slightly off, and that's just a delay. All I have to do is just add a little delay into the software to try to match up, and that is fine. It's probably not much. I would imagine only like about 30 or 50 milliseconds at most, probably less. But hey, that is a good thing. And Susan, yes, you're famous and infamous. I think you can be both. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. You can be both. I really like that a lot. Now, it was great seeing a lot of you at our great recipe swap. That was just what, last Thursday, in a special Zoom meeting gathering that we had. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun, I think. We got to hang out, and uh, I think I missed something. We still want to know about the theme song. Which theme song? I don't have the context for that, so I don't know. Uh, yeah, but yeah, it was the great recipe swap. I really had a great time with that. We all got to hang out, and we planned on just like about an hour, and I think we ended up at about 2.5 hours. Partly because, oh yeah, the music that I have now for Fair Life. Lee is asking me about the theme song for Fair Life, and totally interrupting my train of thought because she likes to do that on purpose, very much so. So yes, yeah, we, the current one is still just a temporary one for now. Uh, I don't know. I'm kind of digging that one. I mean, I wrote it, and I think I just need to do a better recording of it and approach it that way, because I'm kind of liking that as a theme song. I did work on one, and I got sidetracked on a few other projects. We've been very busy, but yeah, I do kind of have a theme song almost ready. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll be working on that. I will be working on the theme song a little bit, and we shall see. Uh, but I don't know. I mean, let me know. What do you think of the intro song? It's a tune I wrote many years ago, but I just kind of like it. It's very different, and I just kind of like the feel of it. I think it's a rough recording, but with a better recording, what do you think? Um, so we'll see. As far as oh, strangely, audio is perfectly like they're saying it's very slight. Some people might be able to see it better than others as far as the audio sync. Others, it might be a little less obvious. But yeah, the okay. And Jan likes the intro. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is That's part of the thing I've been working on, getting a lot of the graphics and everything here together. I think it's been a bit of a challenge, but and maybe what I'll do is the theme song I came up with, I might set up as an ending song and approach it that way, so that we have a beginning song and an ending song. I kind of like that. Kind of like they do with lyrics, where they have one that's instrumental and another one that has lyrics to it. Kind of like that. Just mix it up a little bit. Have fun, because that's the best. But we'll see. We'll see. It's always fun. Watching Andrew read out comments. That's what I do a lot of the time, especially when they're all directed at me at once at the beginning. But no, the Great Recipe Swap was a ton of fun. So thanks again for everybody who joined in. We had a great time and got to watch Lee and Alicia cook a bit, and they did a very good job. And I kind of was a bit angry with them because I got to see what they made, and I was pretty hungry afterwards because I wasn't expecting us to spend 2.5 hours, and I hadn't had dinner before we started. So at the end, I got off and got some food really quick. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Yeah, and I am 15 seconds in the future, and that's why sometimes reading the comments can be a little hard. There are ways to kind of make it a little quicker on Facebook. I'm sorry, on YouTube, where Facebook is locked at 15-second delay. YouTube, if you make a few sacrifices, you can go very low latency, like a couple of seconds. But I figured that'd be equal on both. Oh, well, Kristen, I appreciate that you liked the intro song and didn't think it was a rough cut. I mean, literally, that was recorded in my room with an ambient mic, and I did some tweaking to the sound to make it sound a little better, but it was not, it was very rough, actually. I can do a lot better than that. I can. But thank you. So, to be fair, that's a good one, Alicia. She said she kind of forgot about eating too. To be fair, fair with an F-A-I-R-E. But no, a lot of great food and good company. And some of you I got to see actually for the first time. So that was a lot of fun and got to talk to. It's always nice to talk to people as opposed to this kind of one-sided communication. I know I get to read the chat a little bit, but yeah, and Susan is being very kind about saying why I zoned out towards the end of the conversation on Thursday. And it's true. I was kind of going, oh, God, stomach rumbling. What do I do? What do I do? So, yes, that is a thing. But I still had a great time. And I think it was a great success. And assuming that all of you liked it, I think we're going to do it again. I mean, certainly not every week, but certainly regularly. I think at least having a get-together every few months would be a good idea. And whether it's a recipe swap or just something, I think would be great. So Lee and I have been talking about that, and I think it's going to happen. So something to look forward to. Keep an eye out for. So yeah. As far as the podcast, some of you might have noticed on Patreon that there wasn't a podcast posted today. We may still have one. A few things happened that have caused us to adjust the podcast a little bit. If we do have it, we'll get it all together tonight and have it up tomorrow. So take a look for that. If it doesn't come together, it'll be next week. But I'll explain it in the podcast. I don't know if I really want to get into it with this because the podcast will explain it all, and I would just be, giving it all away. So something to look forward to. It's a different subject matter, a total change in what we were planning on doing. So yes, it should be very good. Now, one of the things I've been working on and why I've been so busy, like I said, was because I've been working on a lot of new segments, and you might have seen, the segments I did last week with Renaissance Word of the Week. For instance, and all of that. But I've been developing several. I mean, there are several more that I have, and I'm going to keep trying them out a little bit each week and see what works and what doesn't. You're going to be my guinea pigs, but at least you get to try out some new stuff and see what you think. Should be some fun. So yeah, let's start one right now. As a matter of fact, how about okay? Let's start this segment that I like, called Once at Faire. You see, I've been doing Faire Wow. Most of my life in some way or another, because I started out as a patron and then went as a performer and then sometimes as a producer. So yes, uh, it is. I've had a lot of experiences at Fair, and I have a lot of stories and thoughts and things that happened back then. Some of them relevant, some of them just fun, some of them amusing. And I wanted to share some with you. And I thought, well, it's not something I do every week, but sharing a few now and then as they come to me, I thought might be a good idea. So, yeah, let's do that. So here we go. Once at Fair. Now, I started at Fair, wow, about 20 years ago, playing, and it was it was an interesting time because that was my first time really being a professional musician at Fair. I didn't start as one before that and go into Fair like some people do. And I started in with a friend of mine from college, Mark Gunn, and we started a group called the Brobdingnagian Bards. Now, we started or got our start at a small local fair just outside of Austin called Excalibur Fantasy Fair. It doesn't exist anymore, and that wasn't our fault. We kept it going as much as we could, but we definitely helped there. But it was a really nice, fun fair and a relaxing place to start. A lot of support from a lot of different people and a lot of fun. Now, we had an amazing experience with that, and it is it was a whirlwind year when we started that fair. Some people saw us there and said, "Oh, you've got to come to our fair," and we ended up going to that fair. And then that fair, they said, "Oh, you've got to come to our fair." So we did a guest weekend at this other fair, and then other people said, "Oh, you've got to do this." And then the next thing you know, before the end of the year, we're booked for the Texas Renaissance Festival, one of the big fairs, and it was just amazing, that progression. Uh, and yeah, it was fairly nerve wracking. I had some stage fright at the very beginning when they put us at the Texas Renaissance Festival. If you remember the Texas Renaissance Festival from about 20 years ago, it was Sherwood Forest. In there was the end of the fair. You start at the front gate and you walk all the way around and you end up in Sherwood Forest, and then you can kind of go past Sherwood Forest and you ended up in the Italian Garden area around there, and that was the end of the fair. You could not go any farther. That was it. And it was interesting because they put us on the Italian gazebo stage, farthest from front gate you could get, and put us opposite a pipe and drum group called the Rogues. Some of you might be familiar with them. Some of the members aren't with them anymore, but they still do shows now. A lot of fun people. Yeah, once they heard our version of Pachelbel's Canon, where we just start playing Pachelbel's Canon, and then I kind of just jam for a while, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10 or 12 minutes playing it. It was very relaxing and lovely, and one of the members of the Rogues on a Sunday afternoon when there weren't many people around, he'd just come over and throw a 20 into our tip bucket, lie down on the stage in front of us and said, you know what I want to hear. And he'd just go to sleep as we played Pachelbel's Canon for our show. The memories from the first year. Well, anyway, and no, the stage is not there anymore. Drew knows exactly which stage I'm talking about. He was there. But that was the first time. This what I'm about to tell you was the first time I realized I was comfortable on stage. Now, The Matrix as a movie had come out earlier that year, back in early '99, and on the stage, during a fair, well, Mark played an auto harp. Let's start there. A 36-stringed instrument where the strings are very, very tight, much tighter than they are on a guitar. And he would, with the humidity change and putting the wooden instrument against his chest the way he played it, and the heat generated would change the temperature of the wood and stretch it, and he'd break a couple of strings every day. So I kind of got used to it after a while. Well, that first year at the Italian gazebo stage, I'm standing there playing the recorder like I did and going along and playing, and I heard the pop of a string to my left. And usually it just breaks on one side and falls down on the auto harp. But this time it broke in two spots. and completely came off. And instinctively, I just sort of did this and backed away, and the string just flew right in front of me, past me, and I moved back and kept playing and didn't miss a note. And the audience was just kind of like open mouth, agape, just, and I just kept playing, and Mark just went, "Damn, man, wow!" And just, yeah, that was my Matrix move. I was very proud of that, but, and that's a fun story, but really for me, it was the first time I realized I could relax enough to just let my instincts take over and go with it. And that's the first time I remember just relaxing that much on stage, and it was a great feeling. And I think since then, I didn't really have much stage fright. Occasionally, when we'd go on a new stage, like a stadium or something like that, that was very different, I'd get a little nervous, like, okay, how do I deal with this? But other than those few rare moments, no, that was when I finally got over stage fright, and that was a good feeling. That was a good feeling. And yeah, still no scars, so yay, always a good thing. So that was another Once at Faire. Now that's just going to be a basic one. I just wanted to get one out there, but some of the others in the future will be more poignant and interesting. But I just wanted to throw that one in because that was kind of where I got my start, and I always liked that. Made me feel good. Fair enough. Yes, I said fair enough to Lee saying stares into the blue abyss. Oh, mercy. So yeah, let's go back to talking about last Shakespeare reviews last week. Now, it was A Midsummer Night's Dream from 1999, and I love doing that with Will Shakespeare, and a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed it. It's a good movie. It has its problems. I think the director made a few bad choices, but it's still the best movie version of A Midsummer Night's Dream, I think. And both Will and I recommended it. So if you're interested at all, check out the review if you haven't seen it. You can see it on our Facebook or YouTube channel. And yeah, throw in some comments. Let us know what you think. And check out the movie, too. It is a good movie with some... a lot of faces you'll recognize, some very early in their career, before they were really known. So, such as Stanley Tucci was not a household name at that point. That movie kind of helped to make him one. And Sam Rockwell, too, was not known at all when he was in that. And he stole a couple of scenes out of that, so really well done. I noticed that you're talking about the Shakespeare, or not Shakespeare, the Sherwood Forest date changes, and yes, I did get an email about that and noticed that. Yeah, they're pushing back a month, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to not completely overlap Scarborough, but it's going to be really close. I get why they're doing it, and I understand. It's yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of in the whole processing mode of that because that all happened today. Because I've got to think, okay, how does this affect me? Because I'm probably going to play that fair. Yeah. Yeah, that will be interesting. That will be interesting. And yeah, Susan is right. I did kind of convince Dan to kind of... I think originally he loved that film. He had such a high level of appreciation for it. And I think part of it was nostalgia. When he saw it, he loved it back in 99. And for me, when I first saw it, I didn't like it at all. So we kind of... I rewatched it a few times and felt, okay, my earlier view was a little unfair. At the time, Callista Flockhart, she was Ally McBeal, and everybody knew who she was, and that was all she was known for. And the character they gave her was pretty similar, let's be honest. And a lot of her mannerisms and everything were the same. And I was very biased because of that. I think a lot of people were. And that was a big problem with the film. But now, not having that fresh in my mind, I kind of appreciate it more, and I didn't have that bias. And it's a good lesson there in movies, that casting can be a factor. Like in From Here to Eternity, the classic film where George Reeves, the guy who played Superman in the old 50s television show, he had a small part in there, and some of the audience laughed when they saw him in this very emotional, poignant film. They just kind of laughed at him because they associated him with Superman. That typecasting can be rough. It's a shame, but there is a lesson there. I mean, you kind of have to roll with it. If you become really famous from something, it's going to follow you, and you have to accept it and work with it as opposed to against it. You can get past it over time, but you have to be willing to. But yeah, definitely. I think it was a good episode. Now, as far as the episode went, I think of Midsummer Night's Dream, I think I kind of brought Shakespeare to accept that there were some problems with it, but I still recommend it. I mean, I think it is a very good film and has some really good things, and the cast is phenomenal. I mean, just at least the names are. I think some of them were very wasted, but that's the director's fault. I don't think any of the actors, I don't think it was their fault at all, honestly. And yeah, Lee is making a very good point right now. She's saying that there is no gathering this Thursday. I was going to mention that a little bit, but, and no Shakespeare review either. I mean, it's holidays. We try not to do stuff on holidays. I know sometimes, I was kind of on the fence on that because I thought sometimes you might want something to do on a holiday when you have it off from work, or you're trying to, avoid your family. Or you, because of travel restrictions, you can't visit your family, so you want to not think about the fact that you're not seeing them. So I don't know. I was kind of on the fence, but I realized, it's not the time to do that because I think it's just, you have to think you have to have a solid concept of how to do that. And for holidays, we just decided we're not going to put out stuff on holidays. So yeah, and Janine's right. You can catch up on some other shows, things you missed. That's a good opportunity. Look at Thursday and Friday for that. Go back and check out a few things that you have been meaning to catch up on. Always good stuff. Always. So yeah. Yeah, Kristen, yeah. The avoiding family thing, you get me. No, actually, I really wish I could see my parents, honestly, but I was going to play it safe. I'm not going to do that. Travel being what it is, and the danger of all of that, I'm not going to do it. Not going to put them at risk. It's not worth it for one holiday, especially when as soon as it's reasonable, I'm going to go visit immediately, and it'll all be good. It will all be good. So anyway, Lee already mentioned the following one, so I guess I'll go ahead and put that up, and that's Coriolanus. That's going to be when? I guess not this week, but next week. That's going to be Coriolanus. And that is an amazing film, too. This will give you a little bonus time to maybe watch that. So yeah, definitely you should check that out. Coriolanus, some people consider it one of the best Shakespeare film adaptations ever made. And that really shocked me because it's not one of his most popular plays by far. And it just, but I will say it should definitely be on the list of, if you want to make a Shakespeare adaptation movie, this is one of the best ways to do it. Like Much Ado About Nothing and this are probably the pinnacles of this is how you do it right. So yes, I think it'll be interesting. And Jessica Chastain this is the film that kind of helped make her career. She wasn't known before this at all, really. And Ralph Fiennes and of course Vanessa Redgrave. So some good stuff. Now Dan, how do I put this? Dan had some issues with this. He didn't actually mind the movie too much. And so, yeah, that's not fair to say that he minded the movie. But the play, he had some choice words on. And I can't resist. I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of a little clip of Dan from the review of Coriolanus, like a week and a half in advance. Never done anything like that before, but I can't resist. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So yeah, let's put this up here. I think I can do this. Let me see.
Shakespeare is prolific, writes a lot, and some of it is quite hit or miss. But it's not good. It's not good. And because of that, I'm amazed, shocked, and chagrined, mortified, and stupefied that this movie has as high of a rating on Rotten Tomatoes as it does. What is it? 92% freshness rating or something like that? Yeah. It's just like, wait, what? It's not good. It's not good. The acting is fine. It's visually nice. But it's not good. It's not good. It has some good lines, but it's not good.
Oh man, I couldn't resist. And of course, to be fair, he's talking about the play, not the movie. So I brought him around on the movie, so don't worry, at least somewhat. That makes me laugh every freaking time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he really. Oh, I think Kristen. I think Alicia is gonna make a meme out of this, a nice animated GIF. So I think we're gonna be okay. Don't worry. It is really funny. Yeah, yeah, and that's how opinionated we get sometimes at these. We really do. We really do. It is quite. It's quite amusing. But yeah, we really get into it sometimes. He really does not like the play Coriolanus. Not really at all. I was surprised. I mean, I've seen it performed myself back when I was younger in Houston, and it was, it was okay. It's not a great Shakespeare play, but it was okay. And I think that as far as the adaptation goes, the movie does a phenomenal job. And we talk a lot about that in this. But yeah, it definitely some problems. Definitely some problems. Yeah. 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 So anyway. Oh, wow. Wow. Do we need to make it an audio clip that I make available? Okay, Lee, we might need to do that. We might need to do that. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Just do something together and yeah, call it the Shakespeare ringtone. Actually, the Shakespeare Christopher Marlowe ringtone. He's talking about Marlowe in that respect. That could be funny if you play it that way. Oh man. Oh yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, I think this was a good brainstorming session. I like this. Thanks, guys. This is very, very good. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We are totally gonna. Oh, I'm making a remix. Anybody else can too, but I'm totally doing this. Yeah, definitely a ringtone, and we'll play with this. Anybody else wants to do it? Go for it. Yeah, yeah, and Susan is so right. This is so strange for him. He's usually so happy, and he just got so. That's why this stuck out for me. I just had to share that with you. So hopefully he's not watching. Moving on. So. Ah, nice. Nice. I needed that. That was great. Thank you. Thank you. Now, let me go ahead and throw in another segment because this felt like a segment right here, but it really wasn't. That was just me being me. Yeah, another segment I put together is called Quotes to Know. Now, the idea of this is that historically there have been a lot of quotes in medieval and Renaissance times that are quite apropos and for Ren fairs or fairs in general, or our concept of life being a fair. And some things that you really should know if you're a fan of history or just interested in philosophy or science or religion or, anything. It's politics. Some of these quotes cover all of them, and it is quite interesting. So I wanted to just throw some quotes out there that some of you might be familiar with, most probably aren't, and also some people that you probably should check out if you're interested in that kind of thing. So so that's kind of what I'm doing. And Kristen is saying she wants It's Not Good as a segment every Monday. I am so writing that down here. Hold on. I'm okay. We're gonna do. And Susan is saying recapping the recap. Okay, I like both, and I think I'm going to. You can hear me typing here. And yes, It's Not Good. I like it. I'm taking the time. I know Lee's doing it too, but I'm taking the time to put that in because that is very good. I like this. That is good feedback, people. Good feedback. So, quotes to know. I just thought there might be some interesting things that would be a good quote for you to know. So here we go. This quote is from Nicholas of Cusa, and you might be familiar with him, maybe not, but a very interesting historical figure who lived in the early to mid 1400s, just at that time when the Renaissance was kind of starting to get together at the very beginning. So, yeah, very, very interesting. So here we go. The quote is, "For even he who is most greedy for knowledge can achieve no greater perfection than to be thoroughly aware of his own ignorance and his particular field. The more be known, the more aware he will be of his ignorance." Now, certainly a bit of a long-winded way to say it, but very apropos and somewhat original at the time, although not really. I mean, it goes all the way back to Socrates and his concept of the awareness of ignorance is the beginning of wisdom. So, but at the same time, people at this time did not know Socrates. That wasn't common reading. You didn't really get into that very much. This was right before the printing press got going, and it was a little before people knew about that. Now, Nicholas might be one of the few who had access to that kind of knowledge because, well, let's just say he had a lot of influence. I mean, the level of influence and experience and wisdom and intelligence and creativity that he had, it's hard to make a comparison today to anyone. I mean, in American history, the closest you could probably come up with would be somebody like Benjamin Franklin. And even then, that's not quite right. A very interesting historical figure. He really got along well with the papacy. He was made a cardinal and eventually vicar general of the Papal States. But he also was a huge reformer and a bit of a radical when it came to his theology. So at the time, nobody seemed to complain. Later, over hundreds of years later, people looked at his writings differently and said that he was quite original in the way he looked at things. He also came up with an idea that we still use today in medicine and originated it: the concept of timing someone's pulse. The idea of checking someone's pulse was well known at the time, but the idea of comparing it to a device that measured time had never been thought of, at least not that we know of. He came up with the idea of comparing it to a simple water clock and calculating the time of a pulse. And that was used a little bit, and it kept being used, and as timepieces got better, the practice just improved, and it's still used today. So yeah. And, well, yes, he had money too, but he was very powerful and influential. He traveled all throughout Europe and talked with kings and talked with popes and worked on science, and people didn't call him a heretic. It's been said that if Copernicus had access to some of his writings, he probably would have felt comfortable publishing more of his stuff. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm totally... who needs a green screen? I got blue. Going with a blue theme today. Yeah, maybe I should have gone with a different shirt now that I think about it. I didn't realize it would match this much. But yeah, an interesting figure. Nicholas of Cusa. If you're interested in history at all, an interesting person to research and check out, because definitely one of the first Renaissance thinkers. So, very interesting figure. So I thought this was a good quote to check out. So there you go. He. So anyway, that is another one of the segments. Let me know what you think. If you like the whole concept of the quotes, if that type of thing is something you like, because I really want to know if you like these segments, if these work for you. Excellent, excellent. And yeah, Janine, please. That's an interesting thing that goes back to the 1400s, that practice. So yeah, tell the nursing students about it. It's quite fascinating. Yeah, some ideas are not that new. They've just been modernized. I like it. And Susan says she likes it, but only if my shirt continues to match. I like it. Okay, okay. And Jen always loves more history. Well, and that's I'll try to keep them short. That one went a little longer than I was expecting, but just to try to give you an idea of a flavor, a taste, to see if you might like to learn more and take some time. But yeah, okay. That apparently people do like the quote segment, so I'll leave that in. And once again, I'm sure I won't do it every week, but maybe every few weeks or so, try to throw that in. And there are plenty of quotes, and a lot more quotes by Nicholas of Cusa too. So you can check out more quotes from him. Very quotable and very prolific writer. I think Susan is calling me long-winded. She's veiling it in her writing, so I'm not sure, but I think she might be saying that. I'll choose to say that I'm wrong on that. Probably not. I'm inferring something that's not there. So yeah, never mind. Never mind. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So now I know that I said I'd be rotating segments and everything, but I realized that Kristen might reach through the screen and choke me if I do not do a 7 Reasons this week. She implied as much a few weeks ago, so I'm very cautious about that. Very cautious. So we're going to do our next segment, which is always a favorite, 7 Reasons. Hopefully you'll like it. Now this one is a little different because, especially with everything going on, COVID numbers going up, and a lot of changes going on with politically and socially, and with the holidays and everything, it is a huge deal right now. So I thought, how about 7 reasons you are doing the right thing if you go to Faire now? You know, how to go to Faire the right way is essentially what I'm saying. So if you go to Faire, these are the 7 reasons you can give that you're doing it the right way. How's that? So here we go. 7 reasons if you're going to Faire, you're doing it right. So number 7, a respectable distance. You keep a respectable distance. You don't just crowd around people. The people you're with, okay, those, you're probably living with those people anyway, so okay. But all of you keep a distance from everybody else, and be cautious about that. You really need to be careful. And distance is not an end-all, but it's a start, and that at least can help. Crowding together, and it defeats the whole purpose. So be cautious. Number 6, patience is a virtue. Now this one I'll explain, because patience, you've got to wait for people. Sometimes you get a little pushy. You know, you're waiting for somebody to finish up buying something in a shop, and you want to make your presence known so that they know, well, you need to, finish it up and then wait on me. You kind of inch closer and do that whole thing. You've seen the maneuver. Everybody does it. I get it. So, just wait. Be patient. Let them finish their transaction. Let them do their thing. And, once they're done, then proceed and do it. The merchants are going to be conscious of this, and they're going to appreciate it. So be patient. Be patient. And Susan is insisting that I skip to number 5. So, but wait, 5's next. So we're doing that. that 15-second delay comes in handy sometimes. So number 5, right now, with just a 15-second delay, assume everything is contaminated. Everything. I mean, it's the best way. I mean, I look at the year this year, and I've washed my hands more this year than I have the previous 10 years combined. And it's not necessarily, it's not a bad thing. Just assume that everything you touch is contaminated, and what do you know? You're going to be a lot more, a lot more careful and hygienic because of it. It's going to be a good thing. It is going to be a good thing. So go in with that belief as opposed to, oh, it's probably okay. Don't do that, because that's the same way. That's the way to look at it if you're not trying. And this is a time everybody needs to be cautious and try. So just assume everything is contaminated, and you'll handle a lot of things the right way, even if you're unsure. So number 4, see, I'm getting ahead of Susan. She didn't say it, but I'm jumping to 4. Number 4, support the merchants and performers. Now, you're going there, there probably are not as many merchants and probably not as many performers. And they are out there really, they've had a rough year. So, go to your favorite shops and buy what you can. And I mean, if you don't have much money, hey, most of them have the $5 or $10 items that they have, and everything helps. So yeah, support them as much as you can, and give some tips to the performers. Go to the shows and show them how much you appreciate it. And it really is making a huge difference for the year and their livelihood, more than it ever has. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So yes. Number 3. If others don't behave, avoid them. Let's be honest. If they're not behaving in this one instance, they're probably not behaving a lot of other instances. They're probably not wearing masks in the grocery store. They're probably traveling around and seeing family and ignoring any safety measures at all. Because if they're being difficult there, that's their personality. That's their outlook. So they're not safe. Period. So if they're not if they're not behaving and doing these things, they're not somebody you need to talk to right now or get close to. Just walk away. So yeah, just and it's not worth your time to have an altercation with them or tell them what you think. That's not your job. And honestly, if they're behaving that way, it's not going to do any good anyway. Let's just be honest. It's not going to serve a purpose except make things worse. So just walk away. And yeah, Kristen is right. Avoiding non-behaviors in general is a good idea. Jerk-faced jerks. That's a quote. So yes. That kind of mentality. I think that's a good way to do it. No matter how tempting it is to call them out on it, which I know it is. So, okay. Number 2. Don't let the situation bring you down. I mean, I know you're wearing a mask, you're fair, you're not close to all these people. It feels like this isn't like the fair I knew. This isn't the time that I had as much fun like last year or the year before. It just doesn't feel the same, and it's easy for that to bring you down. But don't. I mean, look at it as in, hey, I could not be at fair, but I'm actually at fair right now. So this is awesome. I mean, a little bit of fair goes a long way. So just keep that in mind. Have a positive outlook. Look at this as an opportunity, and enjoy it. I mean, enjoy it for what it is. Look at it as something different if that helps, like a microcosm affair, an addendum to fair, a fair light, or whatever. It's the Diet Coke affair. I'm not going to do that anymore, no. But just something like that. I mean, look at it as something different if it helps, but just don't let it bring you down. It's not worth it. It really isn't. So, the number 1 reason why you can say you're doing the right thing if you go to fair now: wear a mask. I cannot express this enough. I mean, it's 7 months ago, finding a mask was pretty hard sometimes. Wasn't easy. I mean, a lot of them were sold out. There weren't many options. Now, I mean, they have mask aisles in the grocery store. I mean, you can it's not really a problem getting a mask. You can customize it, you can personalize it, you can make your own, you can order some from merchants online. Fair merchants are selling them. You can go to the fair with your standard generic black mask and something basic, and go to a merchant, and some of them I'm sure are selling masks there. So buy one that was really awesome, that helps and accentuates your outfit, or whatever. I mean, do it. It's a good thing. Wear that mask and be proud, because you're definitely, if you're wearing a mask, you're definitely not part of the problem. So all a good thing. And Nancy says that her mask has knights and dragons on it. Well done. Well done. Yeah, and that's right. And honestly, if you're wanting to make garb someday, starting with a mask is not a difficult place to start. It's a lot easier than trying to do a full outfit. And there's plenty of masks out there you can steal the design of and use as a template. So, and I know the proper term is pattern, but go with that. So something to check out. Yeah, and that is very true. Lee is totally right. There's so many cool masks out there that you're starting to see in pictures from fairs, and it's a lot of fun because people are really being creative with that, and I'm enjoying it a ton. It's so much fun to see. So many cool things, so many cool masks. And I always look at that kind of thing for ideas. I see cool ideas for outfits, for hats, for so many interesting ideas for fair, and masks are just another facet of that. And Susan got my reference. Yes! She caught it that I threw that out. I said it and I realized, okay, nobody got it, and I moved on. But no, she got the reference. Started at the very beginning, a very good place to start. Yes. I totally went Sound of Music with that line. Thank you. Yes, and we just had a talk about that today, that they're using inserts so they can keep their masks on while they're singing or performing. They're using these inserts that push the mask up a little bit over their mouth so that it's not right against their lips. You know, it's a little easier to hear. So very good. Very good. And yeah. I'm going to avoid talking about the craziness out there with beliefs and politics and all of that. I think we all know where I am on this. But yeah, Drew, you're not wrong. And Susan says she just gave the TV a double thumbs up like Andrew can see me. I do that all the time, honestly, so don't feel bad. Yeah, I really do. I'll occasionally respond to things I see online. Oh, come on, why would you do that? And when I read something and I'm like, they cannot hear me. It's kind of a silly question. So yeah, don't feel bad. So anyway, that is my 7 reasons. I hope Kristen approves, because she's the one that scares me with this after she totally embarrassed me the other week when I did not do a 7 reasons. So hopefully she liked this one. A nice 7 reasons to talk about doing the right thing at fair. Always a good thing. Yeah, a good time. Well, I mean, it's interesting. We don't have a lot of stuff coming up this week because of the holidays. So nothing on Thursday and nothing on Friday. So it's a very relaxed week. We'll have more stuff on Monday and stuff next week. But yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. So yeah, it should be a nice relaxing week for us, and hopefully a nice relaxing week for you. And I hope you all get to feel that way and have a safe, fun week. I know the holidays can be very stressful, and I hope you can avoid that. If you have trouble doing that, well, try to step back a little bit now and then and take a deep breath and relax and think a little bit about fair. Because to us, life is a fair, and that always puts a smile on our face. So I'm Andrew McKee. Had a great time chatting with you, and thanks for joining me tonight. It's always a pleasure. and have a good one.